Hey everybody, it's Femtrooper, and today I'm going to tell you how to choose your next game. So I am all about tackling that backlog, beating your games, playing your games. So I know it can be daunting when you have a collection or you have a bunch of games like this. So today I want to talk to you about how to actually choose and select your next game. It can be really hard when you have a ton of games. Like, what do I play now? I have, this many Switch games. I have this many PS5 games. Or I have this many, Super Nintendo games I want to play. Whatever it is, you have a backlog and it can be overwhelming. Don't worry, I am here to tell you how to do it. It's really easy. I beat a lot of games every year, and I think you can too. Before we get into it though, please make sure you're subscribed, click like, and of course, tell me how you choose your next game or what you're going to do after watching this video. A big component to this is making a list, and what I'm going to talk about in 1 second will kind of be how to form that list, but having a list to kind of go to is a really easy way. For starters, I've got a lot of games back here, and they're not all beat. They are not all played. So if I were to just come down here blindly, yeah, it can be overwhelming. So I actually have a list on my phone. You can have it written out, whatever. My list is all the games I'm going to actually try and play this year. Now, that list could consist of 5 games, 10 games, 100 games, whatever it is that you think you're actually going to play. I do mine for the year, not just of all time. I actually look at, okay, in 2024, these are the games on my shelf right now that I'm actually going to beat. But how do I pick those games? Because trust me, I made a list and not all these games made the cut. A huge component of that list is length. How long it takes to beat a game. Because you might say, oh, I beat 20 games, but they were all 5 hours. And somebody else might say, well, I beat 20 games and they were all 100 hours. So you need to look and see what you think is doable. Mine consists of various. Some games are kind of long. Some games are not too long. They're kind of short. So it's actually really nice to look at all the games you have. I know this is sort of like, a chore, but you can look at all the games you want to eventually beat, categorize them by length, and then it's really easy to try and pick a game because you'll say like, I want to play another game, but I'm really only in the mood for something around 10 hours. Well, then look and see, what do you have on your shelf that's around 10 hours long? Then it becomes much easier, and you can go to howlongtobeat.com to look this all up. It's very easy to find on average how long games take to beat, and that website is really good because it's pretty spot on. Next, mood. Mood is a big one. Mood is huge. I have a bunch of games I want to beat this year, and I made my list, and not every game made the cut because I'm just not maybe feeling it. Maybe though in 6 months I might be, and I might swap a game out. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be rigid. This is video games, okay? Like, it doesn't matter. Mood is a big thing though. I mean, you don't want to play a platformer if you're not feeling a platformer. You don't want to play a horror game if you're not feeling a horror game. So what are you feeling like? If you're really in the mood for a great JRPG, then play a JRPG because you're going to beat that game so much faster than if you force yourself to play a visual novel that you're not in the mood for. So mood is huge. Genre is big. Genre is kind of tied with mood to me, but you may have like a bunch of JRPGs, but you also have some platformers you want to play. So I kind of try and split it up. I think it's nice sometimes after a few big JRPGs to kind of put a short game in there. So what I try and do is I try and play like, some big JRPGs, and then I'll sneak a little platformer in there, and you're like, oh, okay, it only took me a week to beat that game. Or I might put an action adventure game in there. That could be anything. That could be like play Super Mario Bros. Wonder, in between 2 big JRPGs, something like that. Or you could play like an adventure game, like an Uncharted type game, or whatever it is. But that's big because, having things sorted out by genre really helps, because I know some people who are, they strictly play JRPGs, and other people it's, they're only playing farm sims. But if you know what you want to play and you have it based on mood and genre, helps a lot. Next, console. So console also makes a big difference. You may have a set amount of Switch games that you're really focused on, but there might be some games on another console. Like you might have some PS5 games that you're really wanting to get to, or some older games. You're like, there's like some older, there's some N64 games I'm really wanting to play, or there's some like Sega Saturn games I'm really wanting to play. Whatever it is you want to play, I mean, knowing the console is big. So for me, I have a rule where I play one handheld, one console game at a time. So for me, it could be like, oh, I'm playing a 3DS game and a PS5 game, or I'm playing a Switch game and a PS4 game, whatever. I find that really helps because I don't stray away. It's like, I've really got to beat this game and I've really got to beat this game. But at least I have two things going on. So if I'm not feeling that handheld game, I go right to the console game. And that can really help when you're trying to choose your game, because it's like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to play a console game right now because I already have a handheld game that I'm focused on. Again, these are all my rules, but they really help because I beat a lot of games. Having a plan and having a list is big, and that's where I'm going to end this, because you need to have some kind of something, whether it's a list or a picture or something to go off of. It's going to really, really help you. So I have a list on my phone of all the Switch games I realistically want to actually get to one day, and all the other consoles that I care about, whether it's 3DS, PS5, PS4, whatever, that I'm like legitimately serious about actually playing. And then I go, how many games can I actually beat in a year? And so for me, it's around 20. So I try and decide, based on that list, how many games on my shelf am I going to try and play? Because keep in mind, there's going to be a bunch of new releases this year that I want to play. So it's kind of like a 50-50. It's like, you know, how about 10 games on my shelf and 10 new games that I'm going to keep in mind that I'm going to want to play those day one. Not all of them, but like Final Fantasy Rebirth is coming out next month. I want to play that day one. So I know that. And so that's kind of on my list, and I've factored it in to my game plan, which I've made a video on, which you can check that out. But that's where the list thing comes into play. Then, because I've gone to see how long things are, that really helps me, because it's like, oh, you know, I just played a long JRPG. I think I could squeeze in a short one before blank comes out. And so then I'll look at my list and go like, okay, yeah, that one, done. And then it's like, if I'm feeling it, if the mood is there, the genre is right. I mean, it's simple stuff, but sometimes I know it can be overwhelming, because I'm not the only one who has shelves like this in their house. And you can be like, what do I play? Like, for example, I love Persona 5 Royal. I thought it was a great game, but I haven't played Persona 5 Strikers, and the reason it hasn't made my list yet is because I was kind of a bit Persona 5'd out, and so Persona 5 Strikers didn't really make a list because, again, I was not in the mood for it, because I was like, you know what, I've played Persona 5, I need to give it some time, I need to give it some rest before I get into Persona 5 Strikers. And now Persona 5 Tactica just came out, and I want to play that because it's new. So there's all sorts of factors, you know. Maybe you want to get to something because it just came out and you want to ride the hype train, because I get it. I want to play new releases sometimes when everyone else is. It's more fun when, you know, everybody's playing Final Fantasy 7 together. It's really fun. So, you know, have your own set of rules. Use mine as like a base. You can go like, okay, yeah, time length, whatever. Use this as a base and create your own rules and create your own number, because the number is big. Because if you just write 100 games on a list, that's overwhelming. That's no different than coming down and looking at your shelf and being confused again. So go make that list. Pick a number of games, whether it's 10, 20, 50, whatever that is for you. For me, it's around 10 to 12 games, because I'm factoring in that, you know, maybe 8 to 10 that I might play this year that haven't come out yet. And I know I'm going to be so excited and want to play them right away. So then that's where I can, now that all these games I've narrowed down to like 10 based on mood, genre, you know, length. And then I'm looking and I go, okay, you know, now it's easy. Because now I go on my phone and I go, okay, I just beat a game. What next? Well, I only have like a list of 10 games to pick. And then if it's a handheld, maybe that list of 10 is only 5, because the other ones were like PS5 games. So it actually can be pretty easy. You just have to take the time to make a list and organize yourself. I highly recommend that you do this. It can make, you know, being a gamer less stressful, because to me, playing games shouldn't be stressful at all. This is supposed to be a fun hobby. So if you're freaked out because you have all these games to play, don't. And also, if you don't care, then don't care. I like it because it's sort of like a, I don't know, like a pride thing where I get all excited because I'm like, I beat this many games. But some people don't care. Some people don't beat any games and they just play a bunch of games every year and they like playing them and hooking them up and going through them and then playing something else. If that's what you do that. It doesn't matter. But just if you're really set on, you know, if you have a goal this year, then get organized. It doesn't take long. You don't have to make crazy hardcore lists. I literally have just a list on notes in my phone. Like, this is not hard stuff you don't need to learn, you know, crazy algorithm stuff. Like, just just make a list on your phone. I hope this video helps you. It's pretty basic, but at the same time, I know it can be daunting. So I just thought I'd throw some of my quick ideas out there on how I choose my next game to help you choose your next game. And if you like my tips, what tips are you going to, implement into your gaming life? I would love to know it. That would be very exciting for me to see. And remember, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.